Meet Ava and Liam, two ordinary college students scrolling through their phones late at night. What starts as a casual Instagram scroll quickly turns into a nightmare they could never have imagined. One mysterious account, no name, no posts, just a face that seems to stare straight into their souls. What begins as curiosity soon becomes obsession, and what they see on the screen starts following them into reality. By the time they realize the danger, it's already too late. This is the story of Ava and Liam's descent into a terror that lives inside your phone. It started like any other ordinary day, lying in bed with my phone in hand, scrolling through Instagram to pass the time. I followed the usual accounts: friends, travel bloggers, funny memes, and the occasional food photography, but something new caught my attention. It was an account with no name, no posts, and a profile picture that was unsettlingly blurry. At first I thought it might be a glitch or a private account, but there was something about it that made me pause. The face in the picture looked almost human, but not quite. The edges were smudged, like someone had tried to erase it. And yet, the eyes seemed sharp, staring directly at me through the screen. I couldn't explain why, but I felt drawn to it, compelled to click and see more. As I stared at the blank feed, I realized there was nothing to see. No posts, no highlights, nothing at all. But the more I looked, the more it felt like the account was looking back at me. I tried to shake the feeling off, blaming my imagination. Maybe I was tired, maybe I had been spending too much time online, but my curiosity was stronger than my fear. I tapped the follow button, almost hesitating with my finger hovering over it. The moment I did, my phone screen went completely black. My heart skipped a beat. I tried pressing the power button, swiping, even holding it down to force a restart, but it remained dead. Then, without warning, the screen lit up again with a single notification. "I see you." I froze, my fingers trembling. My mind raced. Was this some cruel prank, a hacker, or a coincidence? I set the phone down, telling myself I was overreacting. But as I glanced around my room, I realized I wasn't alone. Shadows flickered at the edges of my vision, moving in ways they shouldn't. The room was still, the curtains drawn, the light dim, yet the shadows stretched unnaturally, creeping across the walls. I shook my head, convincing myself it was just fatigue, a trick of the early evening light. But deep down I knew something wasn't right. Eventually I dared to look back at my phone. The profile picture had changed. No longer blurry. The face was now clear. Its eyes were a dark, deep red, staring at me with an intensity that made my skin crawl. My stomach turned as I tried to understand what I was seeing. I told myself it had to be a glitch, some weird filter, or maybe a viral prank I had stumbled into. I wanted to close the app, to delete the account, to convince myself this was all in my head, but I couldn't move. Something about the stare held me, rooted me in place, making it impossible to look away. Hours passed, though I had no sense of time. I couldn't put the phone down, couldn't stop staring at the account. Every few minutes a new notification would appear. It wasn't messages. Not exactly, just small glitchy images that flashed too quickly to understand. Sometimes, they seemed like static, broken pixels, but every now and then, I could make out a face or something that resembled one, a twisted, almost human expression, staring back at me. Each time, my heart pounded harder. I tried to close the app, but the phone refused to respond. It was as if the account itself was alive, controlling the device, keeping me trapped. By the time night fell, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, lights on, phone beside me, staring at the ceiling. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the red eyes from the profile picture, staring, unblinking, judging. I felt a presence in the room with me, though I knew no one was there. Then, suddenly, a new story appeared on the account. I didn't click it, couldn't click it, but my phone lit up as if it knew I was looking. Hesitant, terrified, I glanced at the screen and froze. The story wasn't empty. It was a live video feed of me lying in my bed. I had never posted it, never allowed anyone access to my camera. And yet, there I was, captured from a perfect angle, every movement, every breath visible. My hands trembled, my chest tightened, and I felt an icy dread crawl up my spine. My own phone was recording me, streaming me to an account I didn't understand, didn't invite, and couldn't stop. As I stared in horror, the notification bar flickered again. A single message appeared in tiny text at the bottom of the screen. "I'm closer than you think." My heart pounded, my vision blurred, and I knew somehow I wasn't imagining this. Whoever or whatever was behind that account was here, in the room with me, watching, waiting, smiling. The next morning, I woke with a heavy, gnawing sense of unease. My phone clutched tightly in my hand, as if it were the source of both my fear and my curiosity. I told myself that last night had been a dream, a trick of fatigue, and too much screen time. But the moment I unlocked my phone, the reality hit me like ice. The account was still there, unchanged, staring back at me with those deep red eyes that seemed almost alive. Notifications had piled up overnight, hundreds of them, all from the same account, none with words, only broken, flickering images that I couldn't make sense of, yet each one carried the same weight, the same presence, the same silent warning. I tried deleting the account, blocking it, even logging out of Instagram entirely, but every attempt failed. No matter what I did, the account reappeared as if nothing had changed, as if it were laughing at my efforts. It was impossible to explain, but I felt it wasn't just watching MIT, it was inside me somehow. Inside the app, inside the screen, tracking every move I made, predicting every thought. I thought about telling someone, calling the police, asking for help, but how could I explain this? Who would believe a phone account could be alive? The thought of being dismissed, of being laughed at, made my chest tighten even more. In an attempt to escape, I left my apartment and went for a long walk, hoping the fresh air and sunlight would calm me. But even outside, nothing felt right. Every reflective surface, windows, car mirrors, shiny signs seemed to hold more than just my reflection. Faces appeared behind me, pressed against the glass, pale and shadowed, eyes black or red, grinning in ways that made my stomach churn. I turned quickly, but no one was there. I walked faster, my heart hammering, the unease growing with every step. I thought I could outrun it, but it was always there, just beyond sight, in the corner of my vision, always watching, waiting. When I returned home, hoping to find comfort in familiarity, I realized my apartment had changed subtly. Small things I knew were exactly as I had left them were now altered. My chair had been turned to face a corner, my curtains were drawn when I remembered leaving them open, and even the pattern of my bedspread seemed slightly off. My stomach sank as I picked up my phone. The account had posted a new story. My hands shook as I opened it. It was a video of me, asleep. My heart stopped. I hadn't filmed it. I hadn't shared it. The camera angle was impossible. It showed everything in my bedroom, every small tremor of my fingers, every twitch of my eyes while I slept. It was perfect, like someone or something had been there, recording me, watching me. I couldn't look away, even though every instinct screamed to throw the phone, smash it, and run. As I scrolled further, my blood ran cold. The background behind me in the video was wrong. It wasn't my apartment. The walls were darker, the corners deeper, and the shadows moved on their own, curling and twisting like smoke. And then I noticed a figure standing in the corner. It was tall, featureless, except for a face that looked exactly like the profile picture from the account. Its eyes glowed red, and its smile stretched wider than anything humanly possible. A chill ran down my spine. I backed away, nearly dropping my phone, but the screen seemed to follow me, the face moving closer with every step. Then, as I stumbled over my bed, the notification bar lit up again. A single message, scrolling slowly across the bottom. You can't hide. I dropped the phone onto the floor, breathing heavily, trying to convince myself it was all some elaborate trick, some advanced hacker or glitch. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. It was something else, something alive, something that had found a way in, through the app, through the camera, through the very technology I depended on. That night, I didn't sleep in my bed. I slept on the floor, lights on, phone in another room, trying to convince myself I could escape it. But I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every shadow seemed to pulse, every sound seemed too loud, too close, like breathing just behind me. And then I saw it again, a flicker in the corner of my Aja movement that didn't belong to me, didn't belong in my room. I froze. A whisper came from my phone, though it was nowhere near me. I'm closer than ever. I realized then, with a sick sinking certainty, that it wasn't just an account anymore. It was here, and it wasn't waiting. It was coming for me. I couldn't sleep that night, or any night after that. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the red eyes, the twisted smile, and the impossible shadows that moved of their own will. I started sleeping on the floor near the door, lights blazing, phone far away, hoping to trick whatever it was into leaving me alone. But nothing worked. The feeling of being watched never left. It was in the corners, in the reflections, in every flicker of movement I thought I imagined. The next day I tried to convince myself that leaving the apartment might help, that maybe getting outside, seeing other people, would remind me that this wasn't real. I went for another walk, longer than before, through busy streets filled with strangers who didn't notice me, who didn't see the panic written all over my face. But everywhere I went, the same sensation followed. Windows, mirrors, even the screens and store displays reflected more than just my own face. Faces appeared behind me, briefly, just long enough to make me jump, to make my pulse race. They didn't belong to anyone I knew. Their eyes were hollow, black, or unnaturally red, and their mouths curved in cruel, impossible smiles. Every time I turned, there was nothing, yet I could feel them, still present, waiting. When I returned home, exhausted, I noticed the small things that were slightly off, and then larger things, impossible to ignore. The door I had locked in the morning wasn't latched properly. My bed, which I had straightened, now had sheets slightly rumpled, as though someone had lain in it. And worst of all, my phone, which I had left on the counter, unlocked itself and displayed Instagram. The mysterious account had posted again. I froze, staring at the screen as a video loaded automatically. It was me, moving through my apartment. But it wasn't a recording of earlier. It was live, in real time. Every cautious step I took was mirrored in the video. Every shiver of panic, every rapid glance over my shoulder, reflected with eerie precision. I dropped the phone and stepped back, but the video continued, showing me as I watched it. It was impossible, yet undeniable. I felt trapped in my own home, a spectator in my own life, as if some unseen entity had gained control over reality itself. I tried to leave the apartment, trying to run, but the feeling of being followed intensified with every step. Shadows seemed to cling to the edges of my vision, writhing unnaturally, forming shapes that resembled human faces but with features twisted into grotesque, impossible smiles. I slammed doors behind me, hoping to block them, to keep them out, but the shadows seeped beneath the frames, moving toward me even as I tried to barricade myself. I finally fell to the floor, too exhausted to move, and noticed my phone again. It had unlocked itself once more, showing not just the live feed of me, but also my own Instagram profile. Every photo I had ever posted was now altered. There were faces in the backgrounds, faces I did not recognize, pressing just behind me in each image. Some smiled, some screamed, some seemed to fade in and out of existence. I scrolled to my most recent selfie and felt bile rise in my throat. Behind me, in the picture, the figure from the mysterious account was standing, impossibly close, its grin wider than humanly possible, eyes glowing in the dim light of the photograph. I realized then that it wasn't just watching. It wasn't just inside my phone. It had crossed some line, entered my life, invaded my apartment, my reflections, my very world. I was not alone, and the more I tried to resist, the closer it came, learning, mimicking, preparing. Then my notifications began to explode. Hundreds of new followers appeared on my profile, all blank faces, all identical in their cruel, dark eyes and unnerving smiles. One by one they began to mirror me, showing my movements and expressions in tiny glitching video thumbnails. And at the bottom of the screen, a single notification scrolled endlessly, impossibly long. Share me, or join me. I realized with a cold, sick certainty that there was no escaping it, no deleting the account, no ignoring it. It didn't just want attention. It wanted me. It wanted to become me. And if I didn't comply, if I didn't acknowledge it, it would continue to grow, to follow, to trap me in a world I could no longer control. I tried throwing the phone, smashing it on the floor, even cutting the charger cable, but no matter what I did, the screen would light up again, showing me, mimicking me, watching me. And then I felt it in the corner of my room, a presence that was neither shadow nor flesh, coiling, stretching, waiting. I sat there, frozen, as a whisper echoed from the phone, soft, mechanical, yet unmistakably alive. You belong to me now. I don't remember how long I stayed awake that night, watching the shadows stretch across my room. Time seemed meaningless. Minutes bled into hours, and hours into an endless, suffocating presence. The phone, which I had tried to distance myself from, sat on the floor glowing softly. Its screen displayed the familiar account, live, though this time it wasn't just a feed of me sleeping or moving. It was something worse. It was looping a video of me pacing the room, my hands shaking, my eyes darting, and yet the movements were slightly wrong. The delay was just enough to be uncanny, like a distorted mirror reflecting not reality, but a version of me that I didn't recognize. I tried to ignore it, tried to tell myself it was a glitch, a bug, some cruel trick of technology. But the shadows in my room didn't cooperate with that reasoning. They moved in ways that no light source should have allowed, curling and stretching like smoke, twisting themselves into human-like shapes. I could feel the weight of those shapes in my chest, pressing down, suffocating, as if they were learning my rhythm, studying my fear, adapting. The thought that terrified me most was that the account wasn't just watching, it was inside the world around me. I realized then that every reflective surface, every window, every monitor, was not showing me, but showing it. It was learning to imitate, to blend, to wait for the right moment to step completely into my reality. The line between the digital and the physical had vanished, and I was the prey. I picked up the phone, almost against my will, drawn like a moth to a flame. The live feed now showed the room from above, impossible angles, corners that didn't exist, walls that bent in ways that defied geometry. And there, standing in the center, was me, or a version of me that should not exist. Its movements were slightly delayed, its eyes darker, its smile wider than mine could ever be. It mimicked my every twitch, my every anxious glance, but it wasn't content with copying. It was learning, preparing. I wanted to run, to throw the phone, to smash it against the wall. But when I moved, the feed moved too. Every step I took was mirrored by that version of me, as if the account anticipated my actions before I even performed them. The shadows in the corners began to coil toward me, rising, forming shapes, faces, hands. I realized with a chilling certainty that if it wanted to, it could reach through the screen, reach into the world I thought was safe. And perhaps it already had. I dropped to the floor, shaking uncontrollably, trying to block it out, to convince myself that I was imagining it. But the phone, glowing in the dark, displayed something I cannot forget. My Instagram profile. Every photo I had ever taken, every story I had ever posted, had been altered. There were now hundreds of figures in the backgrounds, all staring directly at the camera, all moving subtly, unnaturally, as if they were alive. I scrolled to my most recent selfie and almost screamed. Behind me, in the photo, was the figure from the mysterious account. Impossibly close, impossibly real, with its twisted smile and glowing red eyes. Then my notifications began to multiply. Hundreds, maybe thousands, of new followers appeared on my profile. All blank faces, all staring, one by one. They began to mimic me, moving in tiny glitching video thumbnails, copying my gestures, my expressions. And then I noticed it. One of the thumbnails was my own face, but twisted eyes black, mouth stretched into a smile that I did not recognize. The account had learned me. It had replaced me. A whisper echoed from the phone, soft, mechanical, almost digital, yet unmistakably alive. Share me, or join me. My chest tightened, my stomach turned. I realized then that there was no escaping it. It wasn't just an account. It wasn't just watching. It was inside everything. Inside every reflection, every screen, every corner. And now, it was learning to become me. I wanted to destroy the phone. I wanted to flee, to run far away and never touch a screen again. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't matter. The account was no longer bound to the device. It was bound to me. And when I looked into the corner of my room, I saw a shape forming, coiling, stretching, waiting, a shadow with a face I knew too well, my own. The screen glowed brighter, a single notification appearing, scrolling slowly. I'm inside you now. Welcome to forever. I don't know how long I've been like this, trapped between reality and the world the account has created around me. Days blur into nights, nights into a haze of shadows and glowing screens. I no longer have a sense of time, or even of where the real ends and the digital begins. My apartment is unrecognizable now. Walls stretch impossibly, corners bend, and shadows coil like smoke, forming shapes that press against the edges of my vision. And the phone, always glowing, always waiting, never leaves my side. Every time I pick it up, the feed shows me, not just me, but a version of me that shouldn't exist, a mirrored, twisted copy. Its eyes are black, its smile unnaturally wide, and it moves with a slight delay, just enough to be uncanny. The shadows in the corners now seem alive, moving independently, sometimes merging into figures with the faces of my old Instagram followers, or maybe the faces of people who disappeared long ago. Each of them stares, blank eyes reflecting the glow of the screen. I realized with a sick certainty that they were never gone. They were claimed, absorbed, trapped by the account. And now, it wants me the same way. I can no longer touch a screen without seeing it. Every reflection, every monitor, every window shows the same thing. Me, or what I used to be, or something pretending to be me. It doesn't just watch, it interacts. When I flinch, it flinches. When I move, it moves. I am trapped in a distorted feedback loop, a simulation where I am both prisoner and performance. And each day, the account learns more, adapts, prepares for what comes next. The followers on my profile have multiplied, hundreds, thousands, and I can't tell which ones are real people and which ones are already consumed, already shadows waiting to be released. And one by one, they begin to mimic me, tiny glitching videos showing my every movement. I see myself smiling, blinking, breathing, yet none of it is mine. Every copy grows closer to perfection, until the line between who I am and who I appear to be becomes meaningless. I can't sleep. I can't escape. I can't even leave my apartment because even the streets, the air outside, seem to flicker with shadows of the same presence. It follows me, always, in reflections, in glass, in cameras. The world itself has become Instagram, and the account is the master of it. And then, one night I look at my phone again, and I see something that stops my heart entirely. The account has posted a news story. But it's not a video of me, it's a live feed of someone else, a person I don't recognize. And behind them, the shadows twist, the walls bend, and in the corner of the frame, I see my own face, smiling, red eyes glowing, twisted in a way that makes my stomach turn. I realize with a crushing certainty that the account doesn't just trap people, it replaces them. It consumes their reality, their body, their identity, and it uses it to lure the next, and now it's already starting with me. I pick up the phone, trembling, and see another notification appear, scrolling slowly at the bottom. You are not the first. You will not be the last. Welcome to forever. My reflection in the screen blinks, but it isn't me. Its smile is wider, crueler, and its eyes are black pools of darkness. I try to scream, but the sound doesn't come out. I try to move, but my body feels heavy, unresponsive, as if it's no longer mine. I realize then that the account isn't just an app. It's a gateway, a living digital entity that consumes those who interact with it, leaving behind nothing but shadows and copies. And the worst part, I don't know if I'm still real, or if I've already become part of it. The shadows in the room grow closer, forming a mask that mirrors my shape. The phone screen glows brighter than ever, casting light on a face I no longer recognize as my own. And as I stare, paralyzed with terror, I understand the truth. There is no escape. It is in the screens, in the reflections, in me, and soon it will be everywhere. Then the phone buzzes one last time. A notification pops up. Your turn is next. Don't look away. I can feel it behind me now, coiling, waiting. And the last thing I see, before the darkness begins to swallow everything, is my own face smiling back at me from the screen, red eyes glowing, whispering promises of eternity I cannot refuse, and then silence. But the screen remains on.